Hello and welcome fellow subscribers and other racing fans. Today with a special episode of Setup 101. Not only one car on one track, but some information about rain races and rain setups in general, as well as my rain setup for the Aston Martin v12 Vantage in the rain. So, where do we start? Let's talk about the difference between dry and rain. Generally, there is less grip. Less grip means more tire scrubbing in general. Less grip means most of the time wheel spin, as we are talking about GT3 cars, and GT3 cars do have some really nice engines with some really nice torque, especially the v12 Vantage. So, we need to change our driving style and we need to seek for more grip. Regarding the driving style, be more careful on the throttle. Maybe use short shifting. Drive as smooth as possible. I know it's easier said than done, however, those things do help in the rain. And I had to learn them as well over the course of the last 3 or 4 rain races we had in the several leagues I'm driving in, for example, AOR, RSR and the ALA league. There were rain races all the way and it was quite a steep learning curve for me as well. Now this was generally what you can do with the car. There is more to it, however. This should be a Setup 101 video and not a how to drive in the rain video. So our second point at the beginning was more grip. We need more grip. How do we get more grip? Well, in a GT3 car, we can have more aerodynamic grip. More downforce, that means. This is one kind of grip. The other kind of grip we can get is mechanical grip. That means we need to achieve that the connection between the track surface and the tire is less slippery but more sticky. Yeah, it's easy as that. One thing in the rain, because of the low grip level of the track, is that the car starts to scrub over all tires. Yeah, it's oversteering, it's understeering, maybe everything all together. So we want that the car takes more of the body roll with the suspension and not with the tires. So okay, there we are in the mid of the problem. How to achieve that? We need a higher car. More ride height means more space between the track and the car where the car can work. Of course, we also need a softer suspension. So the suspension can do more work and the tires do less work. And all the stuff which comes with the suspension, the springs, the sway bars, the dampers, all of those things need to be softer. And do not forget the actual tires. If they are softer too, they can provide more contact patch, less scrubbing, and therefore general more grip and a better tire temperature. So reducing the tire pressures will help as well. Another thing, differentials. We often make the differentials quite aggressive, so you get this small slip angle out of a corner. Shouldn't be too much, of course, yeah, to not overheat the tires, but that helps. In the dry, it's a wonderful idea. You can get around corners very nicely with that. However, in the rain, you will burn up the tires faster than you can look. So the differentials need to be less aggressive, less acceleration diff, less preload, and a less aggressive deceleration diff. And always remember, if the rear steps out once too much, go off throttle. You need to leave the tires at a certain temperature. Do not overheat them in the rain. Once they are overheated in project cars, you can't do much. It's just a spiral of death. They will overheat even more. So now, make what we know now into a setup. I will go right into making a rain setup. Make sure you have seen my baseline video though, as we are starting not with the default Project Cars setup for the Aston, no, we are starting with the baseline setup. I will link the video down below. Okay, let's go into the setup then and see what we change here. First of all, we said the tire pressures are too high. For the rain tires, well, I choose the rain tires. We don't need 2.1 bar. It's just nothing really we can use. We need more grip, so we need less tire pressure. And believe me or not, I tried everything. There is a certain line between too hot tires and too high tire pressure. Well, usually we say lower tire pressure makes the tire hotter because it works more on the carcass. However, there is a line where too much tire pressure also causes too much heat because it scrubs the tire over the surface, and this causes the layer to heat up and also heat up the tire afterwards. So this is what's happening in the rain mainly. So we reduce the tire pressures to a point of 1.75 bar. And if you, on the track you are driving, are having cold enough tires, you can even go further down. Yeah, 1.7 is no problem at all. Maybe 1.6 is possible in this car. I didn't try it because those 1.75 were okay. Brake pressure, obviously if you're without ABS, you're reducing the brake pressure. With ABS it doesn't do too much. However, well, a pressure of 90 should be okay. Yeah. Brake balance as you like it and as the track needs it. More to the front if the rear is coming around, more to the rear if the car is understeering. It should be in balance, the best you can do. Yeah. Brake ducts, well, probably in the rain you are oh, excuse me, you are slower on the straights because you are slower out of the corners. So you probably need to brake less, because less speed means less momentum and yeah, less kinetic energy. So brake ducts, reduce it to your likings. Of course, brakes shouldn't get too hot. However, in my tests, 55 to 60% were totally fine. Yeah. Traction control I can't reach because I deactivated right now. If you're if it's possible to drive with traction control, activate the traction control. Set it to something like 7-8%. Yeah. Going much further down doesn't make too much sense because it takes away all the power of the car. Because in the Aston Martin you will always have wheel spin. Yeah. Okay. But we try to minimize it, of course. Downforce. 1 in the front, 6 in the rear. It's our baseline setup, which is nice in the dry. However, in the rain, you want to have as much downforce as you can get. So usually I would say 2 and go up to the max. However, This totally throws off the balance, the aero balance of the car. It's not a good idea. So we keep the 1 in the front, but have the 10 in the rear. That makes the rear nice and safe over the course of a race, and this should be a very nice setting. So the weight bias, more to the rear. We set it most to the rear as we can go. Reason for that, more weight on the rear is more grip on the rear, less wheel spin on the rear. This is what we want. Because, and I repeat myself here of course, the main problem is overheating rear tires, at least in the Aston, in the rain. Now, steering ratio, caster is everything fine. Camber angles, yeah, we have them quite high already in the baseline setup. 2.4 in the front is default. More can give you a little bit more grip, obviously, so you can increase this setting or leave it at default completely, also totally possible. There is not much of a difference, I have to tell you, between -2 and -3. Yeah, so most important thing is you have some camber and do not drive without camber. Okay. Toe-in angles can be left at what we have them. Although maybe we increase the rear toe a little bit to again make the rear a little bit more stable, and default is 0.4. I would go with 0.4 for the rain. This really makes the rear more stable. That's a nice thing to have. Ride height. Due to the rain, we want a softer car which can move more. Yeah, it should be able to move the chassis, to not transfer all the weight movement to the tires. So we will increase the ride height 70. This makes the car a little bit mushy, is that the word? Well, it's a little bit wobbly. However, it helps with overall grip and safety of the car. Try it yourself. If you can drive with the default ride height, do it. Also the springs, there I'm sure put them to the softest in the rear. However, don't throw off the balance of the car, so we will reduce them in the front as well. Now sway bars. This helped me greatly in the last solder race we had in the rain, reducing the sway bars to by a huge amount. Yeah, by a huge amount. I drove them with 10 in the rear and 15 in the front. That seems to be quite soft, but in conjunction with the softer springs and the softer dampers, we come to that in a minute, this really helped to keep the car under control. Okay. Bump stops are okay. Of course, when you have a very bumpy track, you have to increase the bump stops, but for the rain it's already nice that they are that low, because it gives you a little bit more room for the suspension to work. So now we are at the dampers, and you know what? Dampers, this is the baseline setup. We already reduced the dampers by a certain amount, but if you have a look on projectcarsetups.eu, there is a setup from Jussi, and he's the damper expert of the pCars community, and he had a damper setup where all dampers were very soft for this car. And well, I don't think this is the best idea for normal races, for tri races. However, for the rain, I will also go very, very soft. Not as soft as Yussi's calculations do say, because I think the car gets a little bit too unpredictable with that. But we go down 1, 2, 3, 4 clicks on every damper setting, yeah? Everything will be softer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we are through. Well, finally. I hope you can now all count to 4. Good. Now off to the acceleration lock, to the diff settings. 25, much too much. For the rain you want to drive something like 15. Yeah, 15. Maybe if you have too much wheel spin, go even lower. Maybe 13. 13 should be okay as well. Also, the preload is too much. It's okay for the try to make the car more agile. However, in the rain, please go down. You can even go down to 0. I used 20. It was pretty much okay. Radiator as you need it. Just watch out for the water and the oil temperatures. Yeah, the acceleration lock. I forgot about that. Increase it, I think 30 is default. We can go up to 35 for the rain, so if you go off throttle, the rear will not come around suddenly. Okay. And with this we are through, although I can say something to the gearing. You need to test this. It is very dependent on the tracks. However, driving the longer gears in the rain can help, because it makes the car accelerate a little bit less. Yeah, the power of the car is transferred to the wheels a little bit more smoothly. That can help in the race, in the rain race. Of course, this will also make you slower to a certain amount, so I wouldn't recommend it in every case. You have to test it, as I said, but this is a possibility. Yeah, don't underestimate this. Okay. With that, we are through the setup. Obviously, fuel as you need it. Brake mapping. Yeah, you can put it to the back to default. Makes the rear under off throttle situations a little bit more stable. However, not a fan of the default settings, so I keep it at 5 here. Good. So we are through the complete range setup. I tested this one at Solder, and yeah, although my race wasn't that successful there, it helped me greatly to achieve a good race pace, and what was also very important to me, a good tire management. Actually, this setup helped me to preserve the tires better than other drivers on this day, so yeah, there you go. Range setup, we have it. I hope you like it. I will also put it to Project Cars setups.eu, so you can see it yourself and don't have to note the values from the video. Okay, so what else to say? Nothing, I guess. See you in the next video. Bye bye.